There is no feeling quite like the rush of relief when plans get canceled. You trade the anxiety of social interaction for the safety of your couch. It feels like self-care. It feels like peace. But there is a dark side to this comfort that we need to talk about. If you do this enough times, you are not just recharging your battery, you are inadvertently training your brain to fear the world outside. What starts as a sanctuary can quietly transform into a cage. If you suspect your comfort zone is slowly shrinking into a trap, comment the number 1 below. We are going to decode this together, starting with the biology behind that relief. To understand why your apartment feels like a magnet and the outside world feels like a threat, we have to look at the amygdala. Think of this almond-shaped structure in your brain as your internal security guard. It does not care about your social life or your career growth. It has one single job: to keep you alive. We are walking around with modern smartphones, but our brains are still running on ancient software. Thousands of years ago, leaving the cave was genuinely risky. The outside world was filled with predators, harsh weather, and rival tribes. In that context, staying inside wasn't lazy. It was the smartest survival strategy you could have. When you choose to stay home, your amygdala floods your system with safety signals. It lowers your heart rate and drops your cortisol levels. It is basically giving you a biological high five, saying, "Good job, we did not get eaten by a tiger today." This is why that relief feels so physical and immediate. But here is the glitch in the system. Your primitive brain cannot tell the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and a networking event. It treats all uncertainty as a potential death threat. So, when you lock your door and cancel your plans, you are not just relaxing. You are accidentally validating a false alarm. You are teaching your internal security guard that the grocery store is a war zone and that the only place you can survive is right here, behind this locked door. And once your brain believes that, it starts setting a trap. This brings us to the most dangerous loop in human psychology, something experts call negative reinforcement. This is technically different from the positive reinforcement you give a dog when it sits. Positive reinforcement is adding something good, like a treat. Negative reinforcement is taking away something bad, like anxiety. And for your brain, relief is significantly more addictive than pleasure. Let's play out the scenario. It is Friday night. You have plans. As the time gets closer, your anxiety starts to spike. Your cortisol rises. You start imagining the traffic, the awkward conversations, the fatigue. Your brain is screaming at you that something is wrong. The tension becomes unbearable. Then, you send the text. "So sorry, I can't make it." In that exact second, the anxiety vanishes. It is instant. It feels like a physical weight has been lifted off your chest. That feeling of relief is so powerful that your brain takes a snapshot of the moment. It records a simple equation. Staying home equals feeling better. Going out equals pain. Here is why this is tragic. Every time you choose relief, you are reinforcing the fear. You are digging the trench deeper. The next time you get an invite, your brain will remember that canceling is the only button that stops the alarm. Over time, your tolerance for the outside world shrinks. The boundary of your comfort zone creeps closer and closer until it stops at your front door. If you are still watching this, it means you are brave enough to confront these uncomfortable truths. Comment the number 3 below. Let me know you are here to understand your mind, not just run from it. Because once you understand this cycle, you realize that your anxiety isn't protecting you, it is isolating you. And this isolation leads to a massive shift in how you view yourself. This isolation triggers a phenomenon that explains why leaving the house feels harder every single year. We call it psychological atrophy. Think of your ability to handle stress, awkwardness, and unexpected noise just like a muscle in your arm. If you put your arm in a cast for 6 months, that muscle does not just stay the same. It withers. It forgets how to lift things. The exact same thing happens to your social resilience. The world out there is high definition, loud, and aggressive. It requires a certain level of emotional thickness to navigate traffic, handle a rude cashier, or endure meaningless small talk. When you stay in your sanctuary for too long, you lose those emotional calluses. You become sensitized. Suddenly, a trip to the grocery store does not feel like an errand. It feels like an expedition. A phone ringing feels like an attack. You are not losing your mind. You are simply deconditioned. Your world starts to shrink. First, you stop going to parties. Then, you stop going to the gym. Eventually, the perimeter of your safety is just your bedroom. And that is a terrifying place to be, because the smaller your world gets, the bigger the scary things seem. We need to break this state before the atrophy becomes permanent. So, let's try a little experiment right now. If you feel like this video is finally explaining your life, comment the number 0 below. But if you actually dislike this video because the truth is making you uncomfortable, go ahead and hit the like button. Yes, really. Press like if this hits too close to home, because whether you agree or resist, you are finally engaging with reality again. And that is the first step to building that muscle back up. So, how do we rebuild that muscle without snapping it? The answer is not to force yourself to a crowded party or a loud concert. That is called flooding, and for a sensitized nervous system, that will only traumatize you further. Instead, we are going to use a technique I call micro-dosing discomfort. We need to retrain your amygdala, but we have to do it gently. We need to prove to your internal security guard that the world is safe, one tiny data point at a time. Here is your assignment. You are going to leave your house for 10 minutes. Go to a coffee shop, not to meet a friend, not even to enjoy the coffee. You are going on a data collection mission. You are there to stand in line, order a drink, pay, and walk out. While you are doing this, your brain will be screaming. Your heart might race. That is okay. That is just the old software running. But when you get back home and lock the door, something magical happens. You have fresh evidence. You can say to your brain, look, we went out, we felt uncomfortable, but we survived. We need to reframe the purpose of leaving the house. Stop trying to have fun. That is too much pressure. Frame it as maintenance. You brush your teeth not because it is thrilling, but to keep them from falling out. You go outside not to be entertained, but to keep your world from collapsing. You are doing this to reclaim your agency. You are proving that while the couch is comfortable, you are the one in control, not your anxiety. Ultimately, we have to ask the hard question. Is your home a sanctuary where you recharge, or is it a bunker where you hide? There is a fine line between solitude and imprisonment, and that line is drawn by fear. We have explored how your ancient biology seeks safety, how avoidance acts like an addiction, and how your social muscles atrophy without use. But understanding the trap is only half the battle. You have to be the one to unlock it. You do not need to become a social butterfly tomorrow. You just need to remember that you belong to the world, not just your bedroom. Real peace is not the absence of noise. It is the ability to navigate through it without losing yourself. So, here is the final challenge. Don't wait for the right time. Just open a window. Walk to the mailbox. Stand on your porch for 60 seconds. Remind your nervous system that you are safe in the open air. Comfort is seductive, but growth only happens when you turn the handle. Go on. Open the door.